Hey everyone, welcome back to another video of Dannphan's advice. It's been a while since we've done one of these. For those of you who are unfamiliar, during this video series that I have not done in a while, I do my best to give my own opinions on how people can improve their writing, improve the stories that they're working on, no matter what it is they're working on. And I think it's even more relevant now to do one of these videos since I recently opened up submissions on my comic publishing site. Yay! And right now I want to talk to you about the value in starting off by writing one-shots. Because one of the things that I'm looking for most on burningstarcomics.net are one-shots. Everyone out there kind of just wants to start off writing their series, their big magnum opus, but they're not ready most of the time. I think sometimes people just dive in head first and then bite off more than they can chew. So why should you start off by doing a one-shot story? Well, for one, you can do multiple of them. You don't have to commit to a full series that you're going to work on for the rest of your life and never get anywhere with it. And it gives you the time to put something out there that people can critique. Critique as a whole story with a beginning, middle, and of course the end, which a series will not typically have an end, hence why it's a series. It's much more valuable to get a full critique on a story, even if it's not your big story, even if it's not the thing that you want to be known for forever. It's still valuable to get whatever input you can on your current state of writing. And then when you move on to the next one shot that you want to do, hopefully you are improving. And the same can be said of artists out there. You're going to be improving like midway through working on a comic. You're also going to be improving from one shot to one shot, and then when you're finally ready to work on your big project, hopefully you will be at your peak or close to your peak. And when you are submitting things to a publisher like me, you don't want to submit something that you started 2 years ago, because that doesn't really represent your current state of quality. You should be better right now than who you were 2 years ago. But if you've been working on a series for 2 years, I'm not going to see the current update of your series. I'm going to see the very first of your series. And I'll give you a brief example, a real life example, without dropping any names. I knew this one guy who did a novel series as one of his first things. And there was someone who was reviewing his novel series but only read the first 2 books and didn't really bother getting any further into the series because it was bad. It was like really poorly written. And this guy complained, well, the reviewer is not being fair to me because he only read 2 books. He should have read the next book and the one after that, because I improved so much more with my writing after the second book. But that's part of the problem, isn't it? The reviewer is under no obligation to read all the books in your series, nor is the reader under any obligation to read your entire series. If somebody picks up the first book and it's not good, they're not going to continue reading any of the series. The first book is what's supposed to hook you onto the series. You have to make sure it's good. So in the case of that particular guy, he's a little bit delusional in how actual improvement works. Nobody's going to give your series a chance if it didn't start off being amazing. So it's much better to start off with one-shots where it doesn't matter if it's incredible, because it's just practice, essentially, to getting to where you need to be. And a lot of people look at manga because like there's a lot of manga series out there, and people look at that and they're like, I wanna write a big hit series like that. I don't really have that much of a clear idea what I want to do with this series, but if I just start it, then it'll probably all work out, right? It worked out for other manga creators. But the side of things that they usually don't see with their tunnel vision is that most manga starts out as a one-shot. It's very rare that a manga just starts out as a series. A lot of manga, what they really are a chapter or 2 that's submitted to a magazine and then published and then gains popularity and then becomes a series. People point to One Piece and be like, oh man, that's so fantastic that Oda can just write this one series for the rest of his life. I want a series that I can just write more of it for the rest of my life. And then they start on the series thinking, oh, well, I don't have enough time to practice and get better at writing or drawing. I'll just jump into it. I only have this many years left in my life. I better start on it if I want to get to chapter 1000 and whatever, like One Piece is at. But what people are missing is that before there was One Piece, there was Romance Dawn. One Piece started out as a one-shot. Oda didn't just start creating this super long manga series. He was practicing one-shots before he committed to one of the most popular mangas of all time. Before there was Dragon Ball, there was Dragon Ball. Even before there was Death Note, there was a one-shot that was loosely the same story as Death Note. Some people are kind of impatient. They're not willing to take the steps necessary to be that famous comic creator that they dream of being. But it does take those steps, and if you're serious about it, you should be willing to sit down and take it piece by piece. And if you follow the channel, you'll already know that the main series that I want to work on, that I want to be my One Piece, is going to be Reaper. But even that, I'm not exactly committing to just yet. And years of doing Burning Star and comics for Burning Star, I've been doing a whole lot of one-shots, a whole lot of easy, quick comics that I can do just to build up skill for my big series, including the more recent Horizon Quest, of course, a fantasy, but a one-shot. This fantasy one-shot, I kind of see it as the walk before the run, because Reaper is going to be a fantasy comic. And so I need to polish that style that I wanted to use for Reaper. And I kind of used Horizon Quest to try out new things. And even now, I'm still practicing drawing before I completely dedicate all my time to working on that first book, because I want it to be as good as possible. I did the drafts for Reaper a while ago, actually, and I've been collecting critiques on just the writing alone. There's a lot of preparation behind the scenes before I'm pushing my first real serious series. And I expect most of you, if you're serious about it, to also do that prep work, to also do these one-off stories to acquire and polish up your skill so that you can make the best series that you can. But like with anything, it just takes time. That's the main thing. You can learn, you can get better, but it's always going to take time. You can't just jump in headfirst into a series all the time. But that does seem like a thing that a lot of people enjoy doing. It's part of the reason why Burning Star, what I'm asking for from people are one-shots. And I'm open to the idea of you continuing said one-shot as a series if it's popular, if it's got good reception behind it. But I don't want anyone to just commit super hard to something that they might not enjoy working on a few years in the future, or that might not be popular, might not be worth all the work that they're putting into it. And quite frankly, I've enjoyed a lot of one-shots in my lifetime, reading a lot of one-shot comics. A lot of them are really good despite being, short, contained. I mean, one of my most popular, well-liked comics on the Burning Star website is a one-shot that was written with the purpose of being a one-shot. But yes, I left it open-ended just for that popularity alone, because if it was popular, you can very well do a sequel, do a follow-up. So keep this in mind, I think, when you're working on whatever you're working on. If you're a new writer who's still in the process of polishing your skill, getting critique, then you should be working on contained stories, not long ongoing series. And on the flip side, if you're very popular online, and if you've already had loads of good critique thrown at you, big 5-star reviews from every side, then go ahead and start your first series. If you are like a really well-established professional at this point in time, then sure, go start your series. But for those of you just starting off, you're gonna need to do a lot more polishing. I know that there is some nuance here and there. Some people who have done like webcomics, a lot of them say, well, I never start off with a one-shot. I start off with multiple series, and then I just see, I'm just throwing stuff at the wall and just seeing what sticks. And there are definitely some webcomics out there that have, skyrocketed in popularity from that method. I just don't like that method. And you know that I'm highly critical of a lot of webcomics here on this channel, because I think that they tend to sacrifice quality for their methods. But that's all I've got to say for now for this video. Let me know your own thoughts. Like, subscribe, do the things that you do. Go check out Burning Star Comics, and perhaps submit something if you have a one-shot that you would like to see published somewhere. As usual, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye! Program restart.